Nintendo is one of the most well-known video game companies in the entire world, but despite this fact, there's still plenty of tidbits of trivia that go unknown by the general population. So in today's video, we will not be going over those. Instead, we'll be taking a look at 100 Nintendo facts that you probably do know. Mario's companion in Super Mario Odyssey, Cappy, is based on the real-life article of clothing known as a hat, or a cap per se. In the 2002 GameCube game Super Mario Sunshine, the lettering on Mario's hat being a bright red M is a reference to the main protagonist of the Super Mario series, Mario. In the 1985 game Super Mario Bros., the red M cannot be seen on Mario's hat, leading many fans to believe that this is not actually the real Mario. The main protagonist of the Legend of Zelda series isn't actually Zelda. The name of this character is actually Link. The main character of Nintendo's flagship two-dimensional shooting franchise, Metroid, is not even named Metroid. His name is actually Samus Aran. In Super Smash Bros. Brawl for the Nintendo Wii, by using Samus's final smash, you learn that he is actually a girl. Nintendo Land, which was a launch title for the Nintendo Wii U, was fittingly published by a company with a similar name, known as Nintendo EAD. The L on Waluigi's hat is actually upside down to signify that he's an evil version of Luigi. Donkey Kong Jr. is actually the biological son of Donkey Kong from the Donkey Kong franchise. The first console ever to feature a Wii Sports title was the Nintendo Wii. Donkey Kong isn't actually a donkey. Nintendo's first handhelds, known as Game & Watch, gets its name from the fact that those devices included both a game and a watch. When you initially turn on any handheld within the Nintendo Game Boy family of systems, you'll be greeted by a home screen alongside a little jingle that reads, Game Boy. This is a reference to the Nintendo Game Boy. Super Mario Bros. Has a secret cheat code that can be used on the title screen. Pressing the start button while on it will allow the player access to an entirely new playable game. Did you know that the creator of The Legend of Zelda, Donkey Kong, Star Fox, and Pikmin also created Mario? The Super in Super Mario Bros. Comes from the iconic Super Mushroom power-up. Nintendo Labo is the first and only game in the entire history of Nintendo to be made out of literal garbage. Nintendo's latest console, the Nintendo Switch, gets its name from the fact that the console can switch between being a handheld and a home console device. The iconic Mario enemy, Boo, gets its name from the onomatopoeia Boo, which is the sound that a ghost makes. The iconic Mario enemy, Bob-omb, gets its name from the words Bob and Bomb, essentially being Robert the Bomb. The SNES released the same year as the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in 1991. Mike Tyson's sprite from the classic NES game, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, was based on the reigning heavyweight champion at the time, Mike Tyson. Many characters from Star Fox, such as Fox, Falco, and Wolf, have names that are direct references to their species, a fox, a falcon, and a wolf. Most people know that Pokemon is a portmanteau of Pocket Monsters, but did you know that Digimon stands for Digital Monsters? The reason Princess Peach wears a crown is because she's actually a princess. In Super Mario 64, this is finally confirmed because you get to walk around her castle. The Pokemon Ekans' name spelled backwards is Snake, a reference to the iconic Metal Gear Solid character. The L on Luigi's hat actually stands for loser, a reference to what you are if you aren't subscribed to the channel. In 1966, Nintendo created a toy known as the Ultra Hand. The toy design was actually inspired by the device that props up the track in Mario Kart 8's remake of GBA Mario Circuit. The GameCube and Wii versions of Twilight Princess are actually flipped because Nintendo wanted Link to be right-handed in the Wii version. If you type "do a barrel roll" into Google, you'll get a reference from the famous line said in Star Fox by Star Fox. This line was referenced many times in pop culture, notably in films like Top Gun, where they do a barrel roll. The series Pikmin gets its name from the fact that the creatures in the game are miniature and you can pick them out of the ground. Despite sounding the same, Wii Ski was not developed by the team that made Wii Sports. You can tell by the way the name is spelled, in these absolute abominations. The assets from the Lucky 7 and Crazy 8 items in Mario Kart are borrowed from the logos on their respective games. The 1997 game D64 was the best-selling game of 1997 and 1998, but most of you probably don't even know about it because it was only released in Korean markets. Nintendogs was Nintendo's rival product to the insanely popular toy game at the time, Tamagotchi. The only difference is your pets couldn't die. Alongside the 3DS, Nintendo also released a successor to Nintendogs called Nintendogs Plus Cats. In this game, you could not only have a pet dog, but you could also have a pet cat. To promote the release of Super Mario Odyssey, Nintendo released the Super Mario cereal, which included a built-in amiibo that worked in-game. It's called the Delicious Amiibo. While being called the Delicious Amiibo, you can't actually eat it because it's inedible, because it's cardboard. The double cherry power-up from Super Mario 3D World caps out at 5 to make sure that the game continues to run smoothly. But if there wasn't a cap on it, it would only take 999,999 double cherries to reach 1 million Marios. Pretty neat. In 1985, Nintendo released the NES title Duck Hunt. The premise of this game was to hunt ducks. Metroid Dread was released in 2021. I gotta burp. In Super Mario Galaxy, Rosalina refers to a special one throughout the game. The name of the special one is actually Princess Peach. The CEO of Nintendo of America is named Doug Bowser, his last name being a reference to the main Super Mario antagonist, Bowser. Nintendo of America is actually headquartered in the United States. Nintendo of Canada, however, is headquartered in Canada. The Nintendo of Canada logo includes a maple leaf, which is a reference to their flag, which is a reference to maple syrup, which is a reference to maple sap, which is a reference to maple trees, which is a reference to the iconic Mario Kart track Maple Tree Way. Nintendo Switch has games. Mario Party Superstars is the 12th mainline entry in the Mario Party series, despite the lack of the number in its name. The Nintendo Switch's primary controller is called the Joy-Con, con being a reference to how Nintendo conned you out of $80 when you purchased a controller that will become dysfunctional within a few months. The Super Mario 64 level, Can the Eel Come Out to Play, is ironic because when you try to play with the eel, it kills you. The Game Boy Horror from Luigi's Mansion is not an official Nintendo console. It's actually a faked product exclusive to Luigi's Mansion. Your avatar on the Nintendo Wii was known as your me, which is a homophone for the pronoun me. Nintendo's classic color TV game is also a game that plays on your TV in color. Each Nintendo Direct has a number assigned to it displayed on its thumbnail. However, this is not the amount of Nintendo Directs there have been. Instead, it's the date that Direct aired. In Super Mario Party, the word party in the title was used sarcastically, as while parties are typically fun, in this game is not. The Nintendo Game Boy is not actually a boy, it's instead a handheld gaming system. Nintendo's online multiplayer shooter, Splatoon, gets its name from combining the word splat, which comes from the fact that the paint makes a splat sound when you spray it, and the word toon, which is a reference to the game's cartoon-like art style. The character Starfy gets his name from the star-like shape. The FY stands for, well, you know. Nintendo published a game on the DS called 100 Classic Books. In this game, you could read 100 classic books. Kid Icarus's real name is actually Pit. The iconic Mario Kart track, Rainbow Road, features a road boasting a rainbow pattern. The Wii U isn't actually an add-on for the Wii, it's instead an entirely separate console. When preparing to launch their next console in 2001, Nintendo decided to call it the Nintendo GameCube, because it was indeed a game and a cube. In Pokemon Special Pikachu Edition, you could start out with a Pikachu rather than a traditional starter. Super Mario 64 isn't actually the 64th Mario game, instead it gets its name from the Nintendo 64, the console it released on. The Nintendo 64 wasn't actually released in 1964. Instead, it released in 1996, 32 years later. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, multiple players can all select the same character. So then why does this game have 5 different Marios? 1-2-Switch has a game where you can count the amount of balls in a box by feeling the rumble of the balls against the box. Mario's last name is Bros. Amiibos are actually named after the word ami, which means friend in French. Tom Nook is not actually a raccoon, he's actually a tanuki. The Legend of Zelda is known as Zelda no Densetsu in Japanese, which translates to Legend of Zelda. ARMS is a game where you can use your extendable arms to fight other characters. The Virtual Boy was called the Virtual Boy because virtually nobody used it. Kirby is a pink ball. So is Jigglypuff. The icon used for various Fire Emblem games is an emblem featuring fire. Super Mario Odyssey was the 7th game in the 3D Mario franchise. Funnily enough, Odyssey also has 7 letters. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle and Sparks of Hope are mid. In Shifting Sandland, there's a level called In the Talons of the Big Bird. The Big Bird is a vulture and not a Sesame Street character. Kirby was in Fortnite. Super Mario Galaxy's 100% reward is that you get to play the whole game over as Luigi. In the levels where you usually rescue Luigi, you instead rescue, Luigi. Nintendo Land for the Wii U was the first game Nintendo has ever made that had the name Nintendo in it. I just made that last one up, but I think it's real. The monkey in Mario 64 is a reference to Donkey Kong Country. Callie and Marie from Splatoon are not actually squid sisters, they're instead squid cousins. Mario and Luigi are red and green, a reference to the Italian flag. Despite being Mewtwo, Mewtwo actually comes before Mew in the Pokédex. Zack and Cody from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody played Super Smash Bros. Brawl in the 17th episode of Season 2 of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Throughout the Mario series, Wario will often say the phrase, "Wah." This is a reference to the first syllable in his name. So then why doesn't Mario say, "Ma"? Despite the game being called Mother 3, the main character doesn't even have one mother. The battle courses in Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U were literally just the tracks in the game. They delayed golf for Nintendo Switch Sports. The character Daisy is not actually a daisy. The character Peach is not actually a peach. Paris Promenade in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is actually a reference to the real-life city of Paris. Mario Maker 2 has the most levels out of every other Mario game. In March 2023, Nintendo accidentally published a YouTube video showcasing Mario Kart 9. While the video is no longer public, you can still access it by going to this YouTube link and viewing it unlisted. Go check it out!